Welcome to the HRLocker podcast. Our host today is Crystel Rynne, who talks to James Hallahan, Director in the UK and Ireland for Haze Digital Technology, James Harvard and Haze IT, a leading global specialist recruitment group and market leader. James has over 20 years' experience in technology and digital recruitment and is responsible for delivering strategic growth across both the private and public sectors. Today, James talks to us about the issues some companies have when scaling up and offers us some solutions as to how you can attract the best hires for your growing organisation. He talks to us about Hazerise, a subscription-based product designed specifically for tech startups and scale-ups, offering access to the most in-demand talent pools. One such company that uses this service is Block Aviation, and we hear from John about how the programme has given him flexibility to grow at the right pace. If you were a growing company, or if you're having difficulty in finding highly skilled individuals for your organisation, this is the show for you. It's full of great information and insights, and we really hope you enjoy it.
Today we have James Hallahan from Hazerise, so we're delighted to have you with us today. So James, can you tell us a bit about Haze and your role in the company?
Absolutely. Hi, Crystel. So Haze is the leading global specialist recruitment group. First and foremost, we are a regional footprint business, so we have 257 offices in 33 countries. Of that, technology is our largest and accounts for 26% of our fees. And my role, I'm responsible for our technology businesses in the UK and Ireland and the product portfolio that exists as part of that. My role is to make sure we deliver on our exciting vision and ambition to be the market leaders within technology. And I suppose the really exciting thing is, we're very focused on living our internal vision, which is around innovating like a startup and delivering like an enterprise. And for us, that's about how we have agility in our thought process to look at the new products and services that are fit for purpose for the market that we're operating in today, and to make sure we're delivering the right services and products to our customers and candidate communities. We're very focused on how we live our values around being lifelong partners, and that's about making sure we're delivering value to our talent communities on a day-to-day basis. So beyond supporting people with their next contract role in technology or with their next permanent role, where, let's be honest, if we help them hire them into their dream job, in theory, we may not speak to them for 5 or 7 years. The world has changed, and therefore now we continue to speak to them around how we can support them in their skills development and in their knowledge development, and in equally providing what we'd call super connections to the right networks and communities that they'd like to meet in the future.
I'm gonna steal that line that it was delivering like a startup.
Innovate like a startup, deliver like an enterprise.
Excellent. That is that, and I think that's it's so profound, because a lot of times those kind of smaller companies, you have all this innovation and then you kind of grow and you lose it. So with me, I'm going to steal that. So
feel free.
So one of the things I'm excited to talk about today is around the new kind of the Hazerise side of it, both from I just think it's something that's real topical at the moment, and definitely something that will help a lot of companies at the moment. So if you want to explain, so what exactly is Hazerise?
Yes, so Hazerise very much fulfills that ambition and purpose to create lifelong partnerships. Hazerise is our subscription-based recruitment solution, where we are providing access to talent, skills, and content as a service. And this is very well suited to digitally native technology and disruptive businesses that are on an ambitious growth journey. So it's very much about joining a membership environment, and it's there really to support your Series A, your Series B scale-ups, some of your post-seed startups as well, many of which will have ambitions to be, future unicorns and equally be market-leading disruptors. And what we're hoping to do as the as the recruitment and technology leaders is to give these businesses a level playing field to compete for talent, for knowledge, for skills with some of the other tech giants that are out there in the market. It really supports organizations that are looking to build talent pools and build skills within some of the most niche technologies. What's really attractive about it is we provide digital solutions, so microsites, websites, to support customers in the development of their employer value proposition. And the EVP and social impact and purpose of organizations is critical to attracting talent, particularly in technology, digital marketing, and other areas like life sciences. And part of the reason I'm delighted to be involved in this podcast today, Crystel, is we've partnered with HRLocker, which is another huge benefit in terms of the service we're providing, because what we're doing is we are providing HR as a service, as a additional service line that our customers can engage with as part of HRLocker. And as we've discussed, that will include things like the HR directory, where customers will have access to how they professionalize their performance reviews, employment contracts, benefit schemes, and how they can create the right benefit schemes and cultures to support their organization, through to the world of onboarding and making sure that people get that great first impression that they need to have when they join an organization. So that's great to be working with HRLocker in that regard, and we look forward to working with you as a scale up yourself in your own growth journey. And then I think the final piece in terms of features and benefits is the skills development of people. That's a huge part of the service we're providing with Hazerise. And we work with an external partner, Go1, who are aggregators of some of the best learning and development in the market. And again, what we've done with Go1 is make sure our training is bespoke to what we believe CEO and technology founders are looking for within their business. So be it around how to raise further funding or networking at events, or at a very simple level, how they get some of the right advice and insights around legal requirements or areas like GDPR, for example.
Yeah, and I certainly think even for ourselves, we're obviously growing as a team, and that tech talent is difficult to get at the moment. And I think I would certainly agree with you. One of the most important things for companies is that employee value proposition at the moment, especially around kind of attracting the tech talent at the moment.
And a big thing for us also as Hays was we have a huge portfolio of customers in the medium to large enterprise world, and that's excellent, and we've got great long-term customer relationships there. But equally, we wanted to build a stronger brand and a greater resonance with the tech startup and scale-up community, so that, again, in terms of living our values about being lifelong partners, we're able to offer candidates, when they're active on the market, a really good mix of opportunities for them to consider.
So one of those companies is Block Aviation. And we have John with us today, who is the CEO of Block Aviation, to chat about his journey with Hazerise.
Block Aviation, we're creating the GAR.aero, which is a global aircraft records registry. And the idea behind that is that the value of a commercial aircraft is in the records. And these records are managed in very sort of archaic and siloed ways at the moment. So we're creating a network to link those in a very secure and accessible way. And our main customers are aircraft lessors. And as you know, the aircraft leasing industry is largely based here in Ireland. It's down in Shannon and up in Dublin. So it's handy that we have the customers here on our doorstep. To build this solution for a global market. And
so how long has the company been going for John?
We're going 2-3 years now. So it's a slow burner. It's a big, ambitious project, so it takes time. But we got some investment before Christmas, and we're building the team out. So we hired a few people through Hazerise before Christmas. So we're 8 people now.
Presumably, we're a tech company ourselves, and one of our biggest hurdles at the moment is trying to find talent, it's not even just trying to find good talent, it's actually just trying to find talent is the problem. So you guys started working with Hazerise. How did they help you in terms of finding your people, or how did that experience go for you?
But look, we started looking for people probably in earnest last September to expand the team. Spoke to a few people to try and understand what was the best way to go about it. And we came across Haze and the Hazerise program, which is tailored to startups like ourselves, which are cash poor.
Yeah.
But of course we need to have good talent. And the program just worked for us. So they're willing to sort of take the journey with us. They're willing to grow with us, which is, I think, quite far-sighted of them, and it works for us. It's supportive for us.
What's your vision for the next 12 months?
For the next 12 months, look, we're in a very difficult industry, so we hope the industry is going to start to recover. Aviation is in a very difficult place at the moment, so hopefully we're going to start to see normalization within the next 12 months. For us, we will have key pilot projects that are going to be kicked off and executed, and establish the service that we're providing as an absolutely essential service for the future. So I think hopefully that'll be done in the next 12 months.
Thanks very much for your time, John. Okay, James, I'll bring it back to you now. What do you think are the primary people challenges that scaling companies are facing at the moment?
If I look at our own recent startup and scale-up survey, which was completed by founders and entrepreneurs of businesses within this community, 26% of CEOs and founders said that attracting and retaining the right talent was their biggest challenge. 51% believed that actually securing funding was the most pressing challenge, and that challenge we're seeing becoming more and more acute at the moment. But two of the areas which again Hazerise really helped with, one was around raising and marketing the company profile. 38% of founders and CEOs said that was a huge challenge for them. When they're in early stage, they can't necessarily invest in big marketing teams to support them. And therefore 38% felt that was a huge challenge for them. So again, that's where we're able to support them with our partnership and membership approach. And as part of that, the biggest thing really was 56% felt that increasing their sales and building their customer base was their biggest challenge. So actually how they push that out to market more in terms of the various channels was critical to them. And again, that's where we feel we've got a duty of care to support our customers in that regard. So that's why we see Hazerise really as a true partnership on a growth journey.
Yeah, and I think that I just think at that stage, at the time when you're growing, it's just great to have supports around you where you can just learn from what other people have done or are doing, or just kind of just a bit of to realize you're not the only one. How do you think, if we're looking at, there's so many different technologies at the moment, and of everything that we're using at the moment, how do you think a technology can help overcome some of these challenges?
Well, I think what technology has done is it's created a huge level playing field in terms of the ability to reach out and engage with the communities that you're looking to work with. The way that's, if I give you an example in terms of how that has translated in terms of how customers are building their teams, since the pandemic has hit us. If I give you one customer example, 12 months ago, they wouldn't consider flexible working as part of how they operated. It was 5 days on site, 8:30 to 6 every day, and that was the expectation. Now they're in a world where we're working with them around building distributed technology teams. So we are building teams for our customers where contractually there is no expectation that they will work from an office. contractually they're being set up to work from home. But interestingly, what we're doing with some organizations is, in the context of building that distributed technology team, we're actually building what they would call talent clusters. So if they're building out a DevOps and software engineering team, they may look to build that team remotely, but in a region where they can still get together culturally to bring project teams together, and equally to bring the team together from a culture and fun side as well when the team are having downtime. So, we're seeing some really interesting shifts in the dynamics of how technology is allowing businesses to build their teams. So we now really have particularly in the world of technology, at the minimum, a national talent pool and approach to market, and in some instances, a global talent pool and approach. Again, I can give you an example with a cyber security consultancy we're working with, where from their point of view, as long as the talent was based in Central Europe and within a 2 to 3 hour time zone, that was absolutely fine. Again, contractually based from home. So technology and the connectivity is enabling huge change in terms of how we build our teams.
Yeah, it definitely is. I actually really interested to hear about the company, if they're looking at that kind of cluster based, which is really interesting to see how that works, because look, I'm a huge advocate of remote working, and I think it's certainly going to be here to stay, but you do miss out on that kind of social element as well. So which technology is never going to replace 100%, but that those clusters might be a good way to do things in the future.
Exactly. And who knows what the new normal will look like, but I think we all would recognize there'll be a hybrid model in terms of Definitely. Making sure there's the best of both worlds in terms of how technology can help us. Yeah,
and exactly. I don't think, unless you actually need to physically be present in a customer facing role, I think that hybrid remote is going to certainly be here to stay. So in terms of tips or advice that you could offer to scaling companies to improve both their talent acquisition and as well as their retention rates, what would you say to companies?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Crystel, I'm obviously going to be slightly biased and say engage with Haze, engage with Hazerise as a product, and all the partners that exist as part of our ecosystem within Hazerise, including HRLocker, including Go1, including all the great content and events that we run where you can meet and network with people. I think that's really, really important. One of the things that has come across strongly over the last 12 months is this huge movement around tech for good. Mm-hmm. And I do think when it comes to talent acquisition, talent acquisition and onboarding starts with that very first impression. So I think it's really, really important for organizations to be clear on their value proposition. And by that, I mean, what is the purpose and what is the positive social impact of your organization and the individual's role as part of joining your team and your firm. I think that's really, really important. So I think that social impact and purpose first and foremost. I think invest time in your why. Mm-hmm. Why work for HRLocker? Why, what's the long-term prospects for me in terms of career development, skills development, knowledge development? I think it's also very important to capture your culture. So, in the new world we're operating, use video to share cultural insights through your people, their passion, their energy, their enthusiasm for you, your product, your service. I think that's really, really important. And make sure you've got a multi-channel approach to market. Make sure you're using all platforms. Dare I say, from Instagram through to LinkedIn to whatever else. Use all platforms to capture the potential of all the great talent that is out there. And I think the more creative and innovative you are there, the more it's going to support you around talent acquisition. Yeah. I think when it comes to retention, I think first and foremost you've got to engage with HRLocker. From onboarding to performance management to all the science that you can bring from a HR perspective to support that retention. I think that's critical, and that's why we're delighted to partner with you. hire great people, hire expertise, but then give them the autonomy to make a difference. Don't hire them and then have a job description that is so prescriptive. They have no time to actually innovate and support the development of your products or services.
So, James, if someone wants to get in contact with you or Hazerise, whichever side of the coin that they want to do, what's the best way for someone to get in contact?
Well, please do contact me directly. I suppose on my email address, james.hallahan@haze.com, or directly through LinkedIn. And rest assured, I'd be delighted to have a conversation and see how we can help you, be it from a personal career perspective, or be it in terms of how we support your growth journey as a large established business or as a startup or scale-up.
Super. So thank you so much, James, for being with us today. It was a pleasure to speak to you, and I'm looking forward to working with you both as a customer and a partner. So
yes, absolutely. I should say delighted to have you as a customer to Hazerise as well as a partner.
Exactly. So thank you so much now.
Thanks, Crystel.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. Check us out at HRLocker.com. The show was hosted by Crystel Rynne and produced by Jenny Martin. Subscribe to catch the latest episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you like to get your podcasts. If you'd like to feature, get in touch by emailing us at marketing@HRLocker.com. You can also follow HRLocker on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn.